Look at a UVTV motherfucker. I'm gonna kick special ass and do this for my people on God, twin. Neon nigga for feather made, yeah. And today I'm gonna be talking about the astrology and astrology and actuality. And for me talking about astrology and actuality is going to just lead into me talking about astrology, astronomy and anatomy and stuff like that from an as above, so below type perspective and stuff like that. And how to look at it from overall perspective, basically explaining the intellectual property or the starting point of where that stuff come from and like how it came to be, and then how you can utilize these things and a better, more broader way of how you can look at it from an overall perspective, so you don't end up getting spooked out or getting confused or like conflating into some bullshit or like some pseudoscience bullshit they be saying because of this, that, and the third. But yeah. So, boom, we already know that astrology is just a calculation and foretelling based upon the observation of the heavenly bodies and stuff like that. When you talk about the heavenly bodies or the celestial bodies and stuff like that, that's like the sun, moon, the stars, and the planets, and all based upon like the alignments and the aspects when it comes to stuff. So, conjunctions, oppositions, sextiles, trines, and conjunctions and stuff like that. And then based upon those different positions, that's based upon your chart and stuff like that. That's basically talking about the whole astrology overall because it's the observation space. So, you're observing these things, and we are observers ourselves and stuff like that from us being the spirits in the body, using ourselves as like, human vessels and shit like that. Any sentient being and stuff like that, they have some type of spirit. They replace the word spirit with space or individuality, or they was able to have their own mind based upon the overall space, but that's why they was able to give life to something. You give life to something, you give sentience to it. That means it's able to move. It don't stay stuck and stagnant into one shape and form and stuff like that. And that's all spirituality really is for the most part. And then all the way down to the heavenly bodies and the sun, moon, and the stars and the atmospheres and the clouds and shit like that in the sky. And you know what I'm saying? Like the atmosphere. So the sphere at most. Sphere just means worlds or realm of reality and stuff like that. So that at most is going through the transition. So birth, life, death and stuff like that. So you going through birth, life, death and transitions and able to but despite the seasons, aka like spring, summer, fall, and winter and stuff like that, you still able to stay in that same fixated space. That staying fixated space is just that's what it's talking about. It's talking about the stars and shit like that. Because the stars is just a walking emanation of these things. So because a star is just a light body at a light body that's fixated at a certain point and stuff like that. A point is just a point of reference to the first time when you did that shit. So from you staying ahead, so it's like Aries like energy and stuff like that. So like it's like the head, it's like the face, it's like the leader or like the assertiveness and stuff like that. And then the tail would be like the Pisces. So like that whole Aries through Pisces type of thing and stuff like that. So that's the whole entire eclipse. The whole eclipse is Aries through Pisces, and then everything else is fucking all the other celestial bodies and the stars and like the constellations and shit like that. That's a whole nother video, but yeah. So based upon all these things, and we put ourselves in that fucking ecliptic band, aka this snake-like being or this dragon-like being, and us being like dragons and shit like that, us being dragons, or us being like a dragon-like type being and stuff like that. See, I already know I sound pseudo to niggas, but it's like on some Dragon Ball Z shit for real and shit like that. When it be some of this Shinron and shit, and they have to get the 7 Dragon Balls, you know what I'm saying? Like all that be talking about like them Asians be tapped in. It's like it's literally all talking about esoteric shit and stuff like that, and like first 6, 7 like the first through ninth dimension type of stuff and stuff like that, but like or like the goddamn like the 7 chaos emeralds and shit like that, the 7 chakras and shit like that, the 7 planets and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, like all this kind of interconnect for real. From like an overall perspective, but based upon you being a part of these alignments, is you observing these things. So astrology in itself is just the study in the science of stars. Really, yeah, astrology. A star theology. It's talking about the science and the theology of them observing these things, and that's like an irrefutable type thing, like fact. Here's me explaining like why that shit not pseudoscience, right? So it's based upon the space-time location. Astrology is like the space, astronomy is like the timing, and the anatomy is like the location. So like the birth, life, death. So the space-time location. So like the spirit, the mind, and the body and stuff like that. So astrology would be like the spirit, the space, the astronomy would be like the mind, and then the anatomy would be like the physical realm and how it physically plays out. All right. And because how that, so when you pay attention to the astrology, right, it's like another theology, it's like another science, right, and then it starts going into the astronomy, right. But I'm gonna explain the difference between this, because at first they like to conflate this shit and be like, oh yeah, astrology and astronomy because this, that, and the third. But like here's a difference between the two, because a lot, like all 3 of these things go hand in hand, but this is how you can differentiate between all 3 of these different things, right, based upon that like holy trinity, the astrology, astronomy, and anatomy and stuff. So from the astrology being the observation, right, it's like a thing where it's like it's in this natural state of being. Like this is a thing that got created to make it be what it is in the first place. The astronomy is the metaphysics or the mind state, or like the terms and like the thought and idea and the feelings and emotions of what we pointed to call these things for the most part. And then the anatomy is just the physical ramification of what that shit is. So all the way down to like the like sun eclipses and like when motherfuckers be talking about retrogrades because shit be in certain positions and you was born at certain times and stuff like that. That's all it's talking about. So think about your birthday, right? Or like I'm just using my shit for example. Like I I'm goddamn Taurus sun and moon, right? I was born during the springtime. But I was born during the fixated portion of springtime because that's when Taurus season. I was born during the fixated portion of springtime. Aries is the cardinal version of springtime. So that's when spring first start. And then fucking Gemini is the mutable part of springtime. So that's when it starts to like based upon the natural seasons, right? Of springtime during the transition. When it first start becoming spring, that's when shit start blooming again and stuff like that. When it get to that fixated portion of spring and stuff like that, that's when like the bees start coming out, the pollen start getting crazy as fuck and things of that nature. And then by Gemini season, that's when it starts to simmer down. Everything then bloomed and came to life and stuff like that. And all the animals, all the bugs, and all the pollen, then got the and then like it started to spread out, starting to dissipate. It started to not be as OD and stuff like that. Getting washed away by the rain and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah. So it's like to not even get really spooked out and stuff like that. We already know based upon the 360 wheel or the zodiac wheel and stuff like that for each of these pockets, that's what the fuck it's talking about. So kind of like your sun, moon, ascendant. I'm a Taurus sun because I was born during the fixated portion of springtime. I have a Taurus moon because that's the phase the moon was in during that time period and stuff like that. That's the phase and stuff like that. I think I was born during a fucking a waning moon or some shit like that. I think it was a waning moon if I'm not mistaken. I was born during a waning moon, but that was the moon phase, and we already know the moon phase changes a lot and it moved quick as fuck. And then like my ascendant is in Capricorn and shit, right? So from that being my ascendant, each of these things have a certain time slot, right? I was born at 1:16 a.m. and shit like that. Capricorn time is between 12 a.m. at midnight and 2 a.m. So you can't refute your birthday, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, so when a motherfucker be like, oh, you believe in that astrology shit and stuff like that based upon the sign, the symbol, and you know what I'm saying? That's supposed to mean something based upon the certain time and certain events because of this and the third. You think you foretelling something because it has a meaning and reason and a nuance, but it does though, because you ain't gonna sit there and be like, I don't got no birthday. Because at that point, you be in denial of, oh, you don't got no birthday then. At that point, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all you can really say. And you're like, nah, it's one and the same, but it is though, because that's what it's talking about. Each of these things have a certain space-time location. Like I was saying, when it comes to astrology and shit like that, you need to know your birthday, right? You need to know what like the day it was, your birthday, the time it was, and the location. That's all it's talking about when it starts talking about astrology. Now, the astronomy or the mind, the metaphysics, and the nuance based upon the alignments and what signs it was in and shit like that, right? That's like the nuance. So you're gonna learn the aspects and how each aspect's all the way down to like the trines, the sextiles, the oppositions, all that type of shit. You start understanding the nuance between when it comes to that and the alignments, and then the anatomy will be how it's gonna physically start happening and things of that nature. And then you can just look at that because of the seasons. And based upon these natural transitions all the way down to the seasons, they even do that when it comes to holidays and shit like that, and daylight savings and shit like time, and daylight savings and stuff like that, of doing stuff at a certain time, or the time going up an hour, the time going back an hour, and us having time zones. You ain't gonna refute that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's us calculating the time and stuff like that. So it's just different sun pockets. It's talking about different sun pockets to make it like so simple. So I'm gonna break down like each and every one for all these pockets, because that's all this shit is talking about. It's just giving it a different name. You know what I'm saying? I could just replace the word Taurus with, oh, just a fixated portion of springtime. I could just replace the word Leo. Okay, we're in a fixated portion of summertime right now. I can replace the word Scorpio with, oh, we're in a fixated portion of fall time right now. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So it's like, all right, so boom. So Aries is fucking, Aries is goddamn 6 to 8 a.m. Taurus is 8 to 10. Gemini is 10 to 12. Cancer is 12 to 2. Leo is 2 to 4. Virgo is 4 to 6, and that's during rush hour. And that's when people be getting out of school and stuff like that. See, they be doing that type of shit on purpose, right? And then 6 to 8 is Libra. 8 to 10 is Scorpio. PM, 10 p.m. And then 10 to 12 is goddamn Sagittarius. And then fucking 12 to 2 is Capricorn. 2 to 4 a.m. is Aquarius. And then 4 to 6 is motherfucking Pisces and shit. And that's the tail end. So boom. It's literally just talking about different sun pockets and shit like that. So during that season, during that time period, during that season and shit like that, that's your little pocket. So if you're Aries, you're born during this time. If you're Taurus, you're born during this time. If you like, and that's never gonna stop. That's never gonna change. And then you can see that outside based upon the atmosphere in the season and stuff like that. You know during springtime it's gonna be everything blooming. You know during the summertime everyone gonna be outside win-whammy and shit like that. I don't know what you're doing, but you know what I'm saying? Why can't these shit? You know what I'm saying? What the hell? Throw your ass in the circle. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's gonna be like niggas outside. It's summertime, vacation time, all that type shit. Everyone out of school. Like, yeah, it's like it's It's hot as fuck, but it's a good time to be outside. You could be fucking shirtless outside. Everyone want to go to the beach. Everyone want to go to the pool and shit like that. Everyone want to hang out and shit like that. Everyone got free available time, even though motherfuckers still be working. But that's during the time where niggas want to go on vacation. They want to go out and pop out and bring shit to life and stuff like that. But that's a whole different topic. That's a whole different topic. That's just actually just being in sync all the way. But and then fall time, that's when the leaves start to deteriorate, right? And they start changing colors and the leaves start falling. And then wintertime is when that shit is completely dead. It's cold as fuck, like how it is right now in Atlanta right now and shit like that. It's cold as fuck. And then yeah, it's gonna keep going with that cycle. And then the moon phases change every like 1 to 2 days and stuff like that. And it move quick as fuck. And then your ascendant is just the different numbering time slots of what the fuck I just explained. That is astrology in itself. So from you not believing in astrology, you just not believing in your birthday. That's all it's really talking about. And then the signs and symbols all the way down to Aries being the ram, and then Taurus being the bull, and then Gemini being the twins, and then Cancer being the crab and shit like that. That's like an animism, right? That's an animism, right? Like this, all this stuff is really based upon Native Americans and stuff like that because they utilize astrology in the astrological side based upon the different tribes and stuff like that. And then they was being the walking stars. It's not some star you go see outside and shit like that besides the sun. It's us trying to be different pockets of the sun and shit like that, and us giving symbols and names and titles and coming in the name of these things and becoming that in the physical. You know what I'm saying? We playing out like it's like looking at like a role model or like a celebrity or being like a walking example of how to go about something in like a star-like way. You doing something and you being a natural star and stuff like that because everyone have their own emanation of how to do that shit. It just started because of Native Americans. Their version of that is based upon their culture and what they created in the first place. So all y'all doing is just cosplaying what they created and it's made it into some new shit because all the way down to Native American astrology, they have different types of animism and stuff like that because they Aries be a fucking falcon, they Taurus be a beaver and shit like that compared to England man astrology and stuff like that. They're just cosplaying that and making it the new version when it comes to that. It's just people get psyop between the two because they don't know the origin of how that shit started. That's why, like, when it comes to Asian India and stuff like that, they'll be making up Vedic astrology and stuff like that. Now, there's a validity behind what they mean when it comes to that, but they be getting confused about that too because they'll compare to like Hindu gods and stuff like that in their version when it comes to that. When the original starting point is some Native American shit, it's just everyone cosplaying what they're doing and they're just making up their own type of animism and stuff like that because they really just trying to be like them because that they made their shit and dare pocket of the sun because we on Native American land right now. We in America right now. So it's like we on Native American land. That's their version of what the fuck they talking about. So they trying to align and based upon the wind blows and the environment and the surrounding and the different locations and stuff like that. They're going based upon their space-time location how they go about stuff. Now, when you go to fucking Africa and shit like that, right, you go to Europe, they have their own version. It's just that Europe, because they colonize and they run shit right now and stuff like that, they trying to self-project their version of that and they want y'all to believe in that version of that and stuff like that. So that's why I'm not trying to say that you can't get no like allegory out of it to make that make sense. So how Capricorn is like the seagull and stuff like that, you can turn it into like, oh yeah, it's the seagull and stuff like that. It like to climb mountains and stuff like that. It like to be on the top of the status and stuff like that because this, then the third. It likes to initiate and create new ways to structure and build its life and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's trying to be the goat of that thing, the greatest of all time. And he try to use material things, earthly things to do it and stuff like that and do it in a materialized, practical way. There is some shit behind it all the way down to Aries the ram and stuff like that. They like to ram through the physical reality. They have their own vision of how to go about stuff because it's a cardinal fire sign. So there's an animism, there is a symbolism, there is a fucking allegorical way of how you can look at it to make that make sense, right? But you have to look at the starting point. Oh, it's some England man, something we talking about in English, based upon colonization and stuff like that, of their version of what the fuck they talking about. And then, yeah, so it's like the Native American sky all the way down to Iroquois or fucking some Lenape shit and shit like that. Even though all these terms are really just like England man like interpreting what they feel like the Native American should like what they want to call them and stuff like that. They probably made up a whole different name, a whole different language because they had a whole different name, a whole different language, a whole different culture behind what the fuck they was talking about and shit like that. But yeah, like in actuality, that's what the shit is. So it's the study. It's literally the calculation, the foretelling based upon the observation of the heavenly bodies, based upon this space-time location on this continent, based upon Native Americans, right? And then astronomy is the science behind that. It's the theology, all that. So you making all these the science, the theories, the hypothesis, the idea, problem solution conclusion, the line of events, the you know what I'm saying, the writing the shit down, the studying, the you know what I'm saying, like yeah. So it's literally like the observation energy in itself. And then we're the creators, not the creations. We're the observers and stuff like that. So from you doing these things from the inside out, based upon your dreams and imagination and the visions you want to carry out and your wants and needs and not getting stuck between these two things, and you're only going to get what you deserve because you're not getting stuck in what a shape and form or a certain pocket based upon an expectation. And that's actually being strong as a spirit. When you be strong as a spirit, you actually emanate it. You actually shine it. You actually being a walking emanation. You actually being a star. You actually aligning yourself properly and stuff like that. You're not caring about the external reality of how motherfuckers look at you and stuff like that. So that fire, water, air, earth concept and shit like like that. You not looking at the physical world and you start internalizing it. You just go based upon your intuition of how you already feel and go about stuff, and then you just pivot based upon using these things as a tool and a bitch. You ain't getting stuck in a pocket of time. You ain't getting stuck in a memory. You ain't getting stuck in a moment. You ain't freezing to fucking death and stuff like that. You ain't acting cold as fuck. You know what I'm saying? You ain't getting depressed. You able to go all around. Like, you know what I'm saying? You able to face all different different like phases, like different like points of references and shit like that. Okay, so what I mean by that, right? So like that up, down, left, right. So moving forward with your life, moving backwards, that's like regressing and stuff like that. Up, down, left, right. So moving up, that's like uplifting yourself. You moving left. It's like you doing something left here. You moving right. That's you feeling like you doing something just and righteous, stuff like that. You moving down. You moving downward. That's depression. So that's like the ups and downs and stuff like that. And you being a spirit, it like to expand and contract. It like to expand out of a mind and contract in a mind and stuff like that. To like make it like extremely simple. And like your spirit, like it's like that Jupiterian energy. You like to experience. You like to go through things. When you experience something, you're gonna go through ups and downs. From you going through ups and downs and stuff like that, you get your own experience and you get to observe your way of how you look at that shit. Even if you ain't physically going through it, you feel like you experiencing that in your mind. AKA, that's like a dream and imagination or a vision you want to carry out. You in that space spiritually. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have these certain thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions, and even though you're not going through those things physically yet and stuff like that, you're trying to manifest and materialize that to make it actually a reality. And then based upon that reality, that's being in that state of being. So even though you're not going through that physically, you still feel like you're a part of that thing. You still feel connected to that thing. You still feel like, I know a lot about this thing for some reason. I got this intuition where I should be talking about this thing, or I need to be accomplishing this type of desire and stuff like that, right? And just don't get super like confused and flunked out by the expectation of how that should look and how you should go about it. You should just express yourself and then go from there. And then just go based upon what's relatable in its sync. If it look relatable, keep doing that. If it don't look relatable about the type of time we in and the shift we in and stuff like that, just, you know what I'm saying, did that shit and just repurpose it in a different way to make it look good, to make it look relatable, to make it look like you have a good mind, to make it look like you're sufficient, to make it look like, oh, this motherfucker knows something about this thing. He really good at building cars, or he really good at doing this particular job. He got the qualifications. Like, he really good at this. He got the experience. Like, yeah. But yeah, to really sum it up, yeah, that's astrology and actuality, right? It's it's the science and theology behind studying the stars. You studying the stars as you studying yourself, because you being a walking star, a walking emanation, aka you trying to have that little light of yours and stuff like that, and you try to play out the actual sun, like the actual star and stuff like that, and you feeling like you in outer space and having zero gravity, and you having your own gravitational pull and your own planet and stuff like that, and your own way of how you go through these transitions and these seasons, aka making your own world, your own imagination, you having your own sphere at most and stuff like that. So you having your own space, and then your spirit is your space. And the reason I know that's real is because you know what you want in and out your space. And then from you saying that shit right there, it don't even got to play out in physical. It's just get the fuck out my space. I can't talk to you right now type of energy and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And the more you know how to expand and contract, aka go through different experiences, and you into expand out of a mind and then contract into a new one, aka look at that as like you having a realization about something, and then you have a broader way of looking at it compared to how you was able to do it before. So you're getting really artistic and skillful at that thing, right? Because our main thing is fucking birth, life, death. So like creation and evolution and stuff like that. Creation, mutation, and evolution in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So as above, so below and stuff like that. So you have an idea, you have this mind, this vision of how you want to go about something. You soak into that emotion and feeling. You start communicating and talk about it and doing the network, and then you start manifesting, materializing. You physically playing that out and stuff like that. So the astrology, astronomy, and the anatomy behind these things and stuff like that. So the astrology will be the space of that. The astronomy will be the metaphysics and the fucking mind state and the terms and the zodiac wheel, or like the science behind the timing based upon like the sun and moon transitions and different sun pockets and shit like that, in the alignments and shit like that. That come from astrology, aka that's like, you know, trines, conjunctions, and oppositions and inconjunctions. That's a whole different video. And then the anatomy is the physical ramification because of that thing, all the way down to when they be talking about retrogrades and shit like that. So it's like it's a good time to play out certain characteristics during that season, because it's going with the natural transition and shit. So during springtime, that's the time to start planting seeds and germinating a seed and spring something off, because you see everything's growing again. So that's when you should start germinating certain seeds and to start some new rejuvenal type of shit. And then during the summertime, people play out these type of energy. Everybody plays out these energies anyway, but they don't be realizing like they be playing out these energies. And in summertime, you're gonna bring that thing to life. You're gonna bring it to life based upon what you did in the springtime. So you created something. You start to birth something into existence. And then summertime, that's when you should be bringing that sentence and start bringing that shit to life and stuff like that. I'm not gonna get into the different transitions all the way down from Aries to Pisces right now, but y'all get what the fuck I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? The springtime signs is Aries to Gemini. The summertime signs is Cancer to Virgo. The fall time signs is Libra to Sagittarius. And then the wintertime signs is Capricorn to Pisces and shit like that. I'm not gonna explain the nuance. I'm gonna be talking about this shit for another 30 fucking minutes. I ain't gonna do that shit right now. But Yeah. And then during the fall time and shit like that, right? That's when things, the leaves start falling, the leaves start deteriorating. It start getting more cool outside. It's not cold as fuck, but it start getting way more chill and cool and shit like that, right? So that's when you should start retaining and holding on to what you gave to life and stuff like that. Because by that time during the summertime, you need to have some shit at that point to where, okay, you got some type of emotion that you brought to life during that time. And then fall time is when it's gonna start deteriorating and shit like that. So that's when you should start holding on to the relationships and working on things behind closed doors to make sure that shit still survives during the fall time when it starts to deteriorate and shit like that. And then when it get winter time and it get cold as fuck and motherfuckers ain't trying to deal with going outside because it's cold as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like niggas getting frostbite and all that type shit. And everyone want to be indoors and Christmas time and holidays and shit like that. And everyone be bundled up and shit like that. Right? You already done set aside a whole bunch of shit that you did from the springtime all the way down to the fall time and shit like that. And during the winter, you're able to recuperate and find a new way of how you want to fucking conduct yourself in the public arena. And what's something that we can reinvigorate to make sure this happens again right around, get around Aries season. So springtime again and stuff like that. And we can initiate that off the minute they start getting like not as cold outside and stuff like that. And then the pollen, the bees, and we start birthing something into reality again and stuff like that. And that's the natural transition of how shit be going for real. So yeah, for the most part, start learning y'all shit. So just start learning the natural transition when it comes to shit, even if it's simple and stuff like that, right? All the way down to the houses, because the house is just a 360 wheel and stuff like that. So it's different areas of life and stuff like that. So from the first, second, third house and stuff like that, it's the same thing with what I was talking about earlier with the springtime type shit. So the first, the third house is like the springtime type houses. The fucking fourth to sixth house is the summertime type houses. The seventh to ninth house is the goddamn fall time type houses. And then the 10th, the 12th houses is the fucking wintertime type houses and shit like that, right? And then each one is like, you know what I'm saying? It represents each thing. The first house is a fire sign, is a fiery house. All the fire, I'm gonna explain these. So the fire houses is a first, fifth, and ninth house. You know what I'm saying? So Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The water houses is the fourth house, the eighth house, and the 12th house, right? Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And then the air sign houses is the third, the 7th, and the 11th. So that's Gemini, that's Libra, and that's Aquarius, to make it like really simple. And then the earth sign houses is the 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th. So that's Taurus, that's Virgo, and that's Capricorn and shit like that. And then all these things are part of these natural cycles and transitions. We're just giving different names for these things and how these different characteristics can play out and things of that nature. And from y'all learning y'all natal chart, y'all knowing the sun and moon transitions and stuff like that, all the way down to the seasons. Even if you're not into astrology and shit like that, nigga, you know when it's springtime, you know when it's fucking summertime, you know when it's fall time, you know when it's winter time. If I want to make that shit an actuality, and I was talking to a fucking theist, aka someone who's into, like you're an atheist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a theologian. If you're an atheist, you're just a theologian. So you into theories of shit and stuff like that. I made it mad simple for you because astrology is a type of theology in a sense. It's just you studying the stars. So a walking emanation or something, and you playing out a light body. You know what I'm saying? It's a light body at a fixated point based upon the celestial bodies and stuff like that. So you being a walking sun, a walking moon, a walking star, a walking atmosphere, a walking world, a walking sphere, and shit like that. And y'all know what I don't even gotta go in that deep to bro, y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's the same thing when y'all be looking at celebrities and fucking role models or like a politician or someone who has a lot of influence, and from us being in their fluid, right, we're in their worlds, we're in their waters. So we're in their world. So based upon us being in their world, it's based upon their intuition, aka that fire and water. So we're in their fluid, nigga. Like, yeah. So from us being from them being an influence, they just know how to use their intuition. They know how to be themselves. They know how to take their internal world, use their magic, because that's all that is when we talk about magic. Because when we talk about magic and wizards and witches and fucking sorcerers and stuff like that, you being a sorcerer, you know how to be a source. The same way how you look at the sun and stuff like that, how the sun get life, or like the moon, it being like the internal mirror, it being the image of the sun and stuff like that. So that goes into the emotions and feelings. So the sun will be the actions, and then the moon will be the reactions. You know how to be a walking emanation of these things, a walking template, a walking example of how to be these things itself and stuff like that. So you taking you being a sorcerer, so you know how to be a source for something and stuff like that. That's all the fuck is talking about. So it's like, don't even get spooked out by all that shit. You just know how to put yourself in a certain mind state, and you so strong about in that mind long enough, and you able to use your star body, star consciousness, your light body, aka your mind, and you're able to be light as a spirit and stuff like that. So you're able to take things lightly and stuff like that. You know how to tread it lightly. You don't get too dense. You don't get too condensed. You don't get too surface level. You don't get too stuck into this physical ramification, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like getting stuck into a certain expectation or like a mind or like the realistic physical world. You just know how to utilize these things as like a tool or like a bitch, but you able to be light. You ain't being heavy. So that's like carrying emotional baggage, or like heavy as in weight and stuff like that. So you're able to be light. You're able to be a lighthearted person just in general and stuff like that. So you'll be able to get more grace because people will go out their way for you to even play out that. Like, the more genuine you is, and the more you actually, like, not trying to be in no hidden agenda, not trying to play out some occultist practice and try to keep things secret, you're able to do it, like, genuinely, and then niggas can tell you actually give a fuck. Niggas will go out their way to support your shit because you just actually being a walking emanation. Like, you actually, like, doing that for real. Like, we can tell, oh, okay, this motherfucker actually, he has good intentions. Everything behind, like, everything behind all this shit is just intention for real. So it's like, by the time, like, I want people to put themselves in a position to where y'all start creating your own astrology and stuff like that. So, like, the same way how we have Nigerian astrology and shit like that, or us using England astrology right now, how they be making up Hindu astrology, y'all need to go based upon y'all space-time location and stuff like that, aka the different continents, aka where Asians is at, where Africans is at, where Europeans is at, where Native Americans at, even though Native Americans made this shit first. But y'all creating y'all own astrology, y'all creating y'all own shit of what y'all be talking about based upon y'all culture, and y'all doing y'all own thing instead of y'all having to bite off of other people's intellectual property and fucking other people's culture and shit like that. So, like, Native Americans. So from y'all being in that creator space, and we already talking about y'all being like, people being the observer of stars and shit like that, and that's where astrology started off in the first place and stuff like that, right? From you being in that birthplace, that creator space, that observer type space and stuff like that, you're gonna create some new form of you making your own world, your own atmosphere, your own sphere, your own world, your own fucking realm and shit like that, your own way of how you go about the astrology, how you align yourself, because you being a star, nigga, you being a walking star, not no synthetic celebrity star and shit like that, like they be saying and shit like that, all the way down to sports and stuff like that. Oh, they the fucking star player because this, then the third. No, nigga, you doing something out of your own volition, you creating your own shit, you doing something that you want to do. So look at that as like entrepreneurs and stuff like that. You want to make your own way of how you do that. You want to make your own type of business. You trying to make your own type of structure. You want to make your own type music. You want to engineer your own shit. You want to produce your own shit. You want to mix and master your own shit. You want to create your own shit. You want to shit to be in your name based upon your business. You want your own money. You want your own opportunities. You want your own, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, you actually creating something for yourself. You creating something for yourself. It's just gonna equate to you being productive, because creativity just equates to productivity and stuff like that. You being creative. Okay, so it's 3 ways. You, like, these things go hand in hand. This is really a whole different fucking video, but I feel the need to fucking say this shit, right? So you got creativity, you got art, and you got imagination, right? If you are creative, it just means you're productive. You know what I'm saying? You know how to make a product. So you being productive in something. All this relates to the astrology shit, and you being being part of the atmosphere and stuff like that. AKA being a walking emanation of a star. AKA trying to be a part of the celestial body. You trying to be like a celestial body. You trying to be like a star. It's trying to be something that's bigger than man. Spirituality is thinking about something that's bigger than you and stuff like that, right? So if you believe in something that's more than just yourself and stuff like that, you make yourself of service. So that's the real sacrifice. Not no fucking Illuminati blood sacrifice of this, then, the third. No, you actually put in your blood, sweat, and tears for something that you created, that you did. All the way down to so, right, if you end up putting blood in your hands, aka you end up self-projecting some shit, they end up hurting somebody else and making them be you put them in a situation based upon some shit you created. That's you putting esoteric blood in your hands. You have to wash that shit off. You have to rectify that shit. You know what I'm saying? You created that circumstance, bro. You created that circumstance for yourself to make them be crippled and stuff like that. Even if you wasn't a part of the history of that thing, right? And it was like your ancestor or someone before you because of this, then, the third, right? If you keep upholding that thing, you putting blood in your hands esoterically without realizing that's what the fuck you doing. For real. Right, you put them in a fucking game. You put them in a monopoly. You put them in some shit. You're crippling them in some way, shape, or form because you're not making them actually be a part of God for real and stuff like that. God just means all possibilities. You're not making it so they can create something themselves and stuff like that. You make it so, oh, it has to be a part of this business. You need this connection. It needs to be controlled like this. You have to do it in this way. It has to be in this expectation. You know what I'm saying? You have to follow the guidelines, the rules, the laws and regulation of this, that, and the third based upon this property because of this, that, and the third, right? All that is man-made shit, right? All that is man-made shit. You need to just being sick of what work in that space-time location and stuff like that, all the way down to, okay, boom, right? So boom, I stay in Atlanta and shit like that, right? Only people who live in this little location and shit like that, right? Who's born here is gonna know how shit work all the way down to the OGs. So it's turning into some shit like that, where it's like, if you stay in this space-time location long enough, if you want some credential for certain shit, you know how the surrounding environment works. So let's say all the way down to, like, I don't even like talk about like no political shit, but it's like if you were to be a politician, or you were to work for mayor, or you were to run for office for that certain location and stuff like that, you had a credential because it's like you only know this environment surrounding, and you grew up around these motherfuckers, you went to school with these motherfuckers, so you would know more about that shit more compared to a motherfucker based upon someone who wasn't in this state or this space-time location and stuff like that. So making it so everyone has their own. See, I'm going back to like traditional tribal shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it would be like back in the day, based upon Confederation and Native American shit like that, and the government and stuff like that. The government system will be based upon the space-time location. So it'll be based upon, okay, if you live in this area, let's say you living in one Georgia. So the way it works in California is not gonna be the same way how it's gonna work in Georgia. They have different area codes, different way how they run shit, different slang, different culture, different way they run the system, the education, all that type of stuff. And then on a smaller scale, you go based upon the counties. The counties is within that in itself and stuff like that. That's why you have different towns and different mayors and stuff like that, different cities. The government in those locations will be one way, or the tribe band and stuff like that. it's work one way, and then over here in this little location, let's say California or some shit, it's gonna work another way. But it's still a team though. We still working as a team. We still work like it's still teamwork at the gym. We all got the same goal. It's just that if you in this area, this how shit work. You can't go to Atlanta, then go to California, right? And that space time location, right? And then try to do some Atlanta shit in California. It don't work like that. They're gonna be it's Chris and Bloods and niggas saying cuz. All right. You go to California, you come from the west side, you go to Atlanta, and you try to be on some cuz shit, nigga. We on some twin shit. We on 5. We put shit on God. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be looking at you like, fuck you talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing. It's the same shit. So yeah, the closer y'all put yourself in that creative space, it's gonna make you be more artistic. Artistic just means you have a talent, you have a gift, you have a skill. The more you hone that skill, the more artistic you can do that thing. The more imaginative you is, you're able to put a mental picture, an image, a walking. You know what I'm saying? You're able to astral project, literally. Like you're able to astral project. So you're able to take. It's like putting pen to pad to paper all the way down to music and stuff like that. You're able to be really good at storytelling. You're able to give a good mental picture of what the fuck be going on in your life. You know what I'm saying? You code your metaphors. You code your lyrics. You code with the fucking production. You make it sound cinematic. You make it sound like, oh damn, I feel the vibe of this. Like I feel like I'm there on some Nas New York State of Mind and shit like that. Damn, I really feel like he's storytelling how I was being in the slums in fucking New York or some shit like that. And this borough and this location, cause this, then the third. Like damn, this shit vivid as fuck. It's like that. It's like that. This relate to the astrology shit because right, it's a star theology and stuff like that. You being a walking emanation. So you learn your different alignments. You know your sun, moon, Mercury, your North Node and shit like that, your spiritual path, your Lilith, your houses, the location of these things and stuff like that. And then the more you're able to be yourself, the most, even if you're not into astrology, right? We still on the same spiritual journey and stuff like that. So everyone have their own way of how they go about these things. So everyone has their own spirituality. Replace the word spirituality with space. So from you having a spiritual, from you being spiritual, right? You're being inspiring. You're the breath of life. You're creating something for yourself. You're cultivating something. So that's you being yourself based upon your mind and your vision, how you want to go about stuff. So you have your individual way of how you go about those things. And then you have your own name and title of how you go about that shit. You created your own language. You created your own astrology and stuff like that. You created your own way of how you cultivated yourself. So replace that with that. So as above, so below, from you learning the calculation and the certain times of how to do that shit. So the astrology, the astronomy, and the anatomy, and you knowing astrology is always going to be constantly happening. The season's always going to keep changing. The atmosphere is going to always keep changing, nigga. Right? And then the astronomy is us making it so, oh, that's the sun, nigga, that's the moon, nigga, that's the cloud, nigga, it's you know what I'm saying? We in this environment right now. We in Alaska, it's cold as fuck. Oh, we in Hawaii, it's always hot as fuck. We in this time zone and shit like that. And then the anatomy is just a physical ramification. Oh, you gonna feel that cold ass wind? Oh, you gonna feel it's humid as fuck. We gonna feel the water vapor of the shit in the air is humid, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like we can see it. Oh, the grass is growing. We in summertime and shit like that, right? Oh, everything's dead. Oh, it's snowing. It's winter. It's cold as fuck. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro. Like, we need to just get back to that shit for real. But in actuality, this is astrology, astronomy, and anatomy. In actuality, and how to look at this from an overall perspective and not get lost into some pseudoscience ass shit, right? And it's just us studying those things and then how to apply that in the physical, and you're able to use these things as a bitch, and you have the right timing to be relatable and sync on how you go about stuff. So that's like literally, like, you ain't gonna do no shit in the summertime during the fall time. I mean, you ain't gonna do no shit during the summertime during the winter time because, nigga, like, why you got that big ass coat on? You know what I'm saying? Why you got that big ass coat on, nigga? It's summertime. It's hot as fuck. You gonna get a heat stroke. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, just being relatable and in sync when it comes to all that shit.